Hello, everyone, and welcome to the introductory episode for Return to the Realm, which is a rereaders podcast for the Realm of the Elderlings series by Robin Hobb. Um, I'm Kayiu, and joining me are. Want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I can go ahead and go. I am Leah. I read these books a few years ago, and I've just been kind of rereading them and avoiding Assassin's Fate ever since. So
Good.
this will hopefully force me to actually read the whole thing through and not skip out on the last book.
Mhm.
I am Alex. I started the series in high school. I think it was sophomore year of high school, and I finished it, I believe, sophomore year of college or junior year of college, and bawled my eyes out for the last 100 pages of the last book and cried for like a handful of days after because I was so sad that it was ending.
Mhm. And yeah, I'm Kayu, otherwise known. My actual name is Anand, but I go by Kayu online. I also read this series in high school because a friend introduced it to me, and didn't know what to think at first, and then I just devoured the first six books. Or like, I've read Farseer and Tawny Man trilogy again and again. Some of my favorite books. There's scenes in both that will make me cry if I read them, no matter how many times I've read them before. Um, I just read Life Ship Traders for the first time this summer, and I've read the first two books of the Fitz and the Fool trilogy. But like Leah, I have not touched Assassin's Fate yet because I am too nervous.
It gets you. It'll definitely
Mhm.
get you. I'm warning you. Just be prepared. It's
The
rough.
thing is, like, with every other ending of, like, every other trilogy ending, I was like, it's an ending, but, like, not really, because I know there's more books. So I'm like, whatever happens here, I can just be like, whatever, fuck that. Like, they're probably
Yeah, there's
probably
more.
something better. Like, and like every time that has been the case, where like I didn't really vibe with the ending of either Tawny Man or Farseer, but then the next series picked up, and I'm like, yeah, cool. I like where this is going. But now I'm worried, like, if Assassin's Fate ends, and what if it's just depressing? And I'm like, no. Which doesn't mean it's a bad ending that I won't like, but I'm just like, I'm also worried about being sad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I was really upset about the ending, but like kind of knowing Robin Hobb, I don't think that there could have been any other end for it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I know how it ends because I spoil things for myself.
On purpose or accidentally.
Both.
I know like
Uh,
bits and pieces here
so
and there because like I've definitely like opened a posts on the subreddit and then just read a word and been like, ah, nope, see ya. So
I was feeling particularly masochistic like a month ago, and I read the last like 50 pages of Assassin's Fate because I was like, I just have to know. And so I know like everything that happens. And I started the series with Fool's Assassin on accident because
Oh dear.
I got it for free, and it said, I like opened the cover and it said book one of the Fitz and the Fool trilogy. So I was like, oh, it's the first book. And then I finished the whole thing and I was like, yeah, I liked it, but there was a lot of things that confused me. So,
You're starting the first book of the very last trilogy.
yeah.
yeah, so I went back and started rereading, and then like I was like, oh, he's not married to Molly yet. Like I knew everything. I knew that like so when Farseer ended, I was like, I'm confused because this isn't where I see him in like the
Mhm.
book I started with. So yeah,
I
so
feel
I
like the
like
book names are like
knew
the
everything.
worst part of them because they're so like
Yes, they're also
nondescript. You could
similar.
shuffle them around and then
Yeah,
nothing would change.
yeah,
Yeah,
and like
I don't know all the names of the or all of the titles. I just can't keep track of them.
Hmm.
I went into it starting with that like so much was spoiled already that it was like, well, I'm not even gonna bother trying to not spoil things because
That kind of makes sense then. I
yeah.
can see. But yeah, the end devastated me for sure.
It's gonna be like I'm sure it's gonna be like Night Eyes all over again. Like when I was reading Fool's Errand, I
Yeah.
cried so hard I gave myself a migraine. And my dog was like, "Can you get away from me with your emotions?"
That's how I was when with the Fool, like in the Tawny Man trilogy. I was so distraught. I was like, "Oh my God." And like I cried while I was still reading, and like I had to keep wiping my tears because I couldn't even see the words on the page. It was so bad.
It's so hard
Because
to
it
read.
happens off screen, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's like it's
Yeah.
so devastating because you're like,
You just see him and you're like, "Oh,
oh my god, and like she does not hold back with any of the description. And like
no."
when
She never
Fitz
does.
and when Fitz was like, my dream is dead in my arms. I'm like, don't do this to me. And like, yeah,
Yeah,
all of that.
rough.
I also another scene that makes me cry every time I read it. Is a description when the fool is telling Fitz in the first book, the story of how Burge went and defended him at the witness stones. I'm like,
Oh, yes.
because
Yeah.
his relationship with Burge is like it's like super complex and like there's lots of nuance to it. But at that moment, it's like Burge is the father that Fitz deserves, and I'm like, shit,
Yes.
gets me
Yeah.
every
A
time.
part related to Birch that always makes me cry too is when he like escapes the pale woman and his shoulders like out of socket and he's running back to the camp and Burrich like is the
Like
one
he
that greets
and
him.
he describes him as heart of the pack, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's so sad. And he's like
Yeah.
says that he always like it was the arms he always felt safe in because he was safe there as a child. I was like, oh my god,
mm-hmm.
so sad.
Yeah, so just a preview of all the shit
Spoiler
we're gonna
alert
cry
or
about.
spoiler warning.
Yeah.
We
We just
a little bit
spoiled
late, but
90%.
this is gonna spoil for everything. If you haven't read the first time,
Yeah,
So
sorry.
even
yeah.
on the earlier chapters, we're going to be talking a lot about future books, future trilogies, all of that. So
I think we need to because there's so much foreshadowing and there's so many things that tie into even the last books. Like I was reading, I think the fourth or fifth chapter of Assassin's Apprentice and was tying it to kind of what was happening with B. So
Me
I
too.
think we kind of have
mm,
to
I
spoil
think it's
everything.
interesting, like both how much of that is conscious foreshadowing and how much of that is just Robin Hobb. I feel like Robin Hobb has kind of like this whole world or story, kind of like just there as an impression, and it's kind of just formed over the years. And it's interesting, like how much of that is like carried through because I think she's mentioned
Yeah.
that specifically, where like sometimes she hasn't been sure she didn't know how to continue the story, and then she had like part of it come, and it's like it still fits and works so seamlessly, and it's interesting. So yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Is there anything else we want to say about ourselves in this little introductory bit?
I don't think so. Not for
Okay,
me.
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and join us next week, TM. I'm not exactly sure when this one is going to be going up, but the regular episodes will be releasing every week on Monday, 12 p.m. CDT. So we'll be there with the first episode, which will cover chapters 1 through 5 of Assassin's Apprentice. Yeah, till then, see you.
Bye.